Well, good afternoon, y'all. Welcome to the U.S. Grand Prix down in Austin, Texas. I'm joined by Matthew Conagher for a ding-dong of a Grand Prix. How you doing, Matthew?
Well, I'm excited for this, the U.S. Grand Prix, and we're going to stop doing those accents because we're just embarrassing ourselves, Rich. um, yeah, g'day. Welcome to the U.S. Grand Prix, and we got some cloudy skies. We're not used to that. We're used to a bit of Texas sun here. What have you done with it?
Throw the spanner in the works. We saw some rain last week, which definitely spiced up the action, and it's a tricky circuit at the best of times. Let's hope we get a bit of precipitation here today. The clouds are very menacing. We've got cars going out quite early on track, and let's check in on what tyres they're going on. So it looks like most drivers are opting for the soft tyre. As it stands, of course, if you missed out on last week's action, please do head over to the YouTube page and search for ROM F1 Official. You can catch up on the Russian Grand Prix which was held in Sochi, and that was a humdinger of a race. What are we expecting this weekend, Matthew?
We are expecting all kinds of craziness because we're at Circuit of the Americas, and this is one of my favourite circuits. I'd say it's top 4 on the entire game. It's got that tricky little first sector where we're going to see a lot of drivers making mistakes here on quali, very easy to lose the car. And then we got that third sector, which is going to be so good for racing in 15 minutes time after lights out.
Yeah, of course, designed by one of your favourite track creators, Mr. Tilke himself. He's actually been a bit naughty here, hasn't he, Matt? He's like sort of copy and pasted a lot of different circuits. Do you know the different sections he's based them on around here?
Well, I think he's kind of gone away from his normal philosophy of 90-degree corners. And he has, as you say, he's gone onto Google and he's done what all your old school teachers used to tell you not to do. He's copied and pasted. But, I will give it to him, he has built a pretty good circuit here, so we'll let it go on this occasion.
So through Sector 1 with Tommy Rill, this is obviously based on like Silverstone, Maggots, Beckett's complex, and also incorporating some of Suzuka's sweeping S's. We've also got that triple left-hander that we have over in Istanbul, and he's also nicked that and reversed it and inverted it into a triple right-hander down in Sector 3. But yeah, one of his better creations, you'd have to say, Matt. We've had some good Grand Prix over the year. First Grand Prix dates back to 2012, would you believe now? So we've been going here for some time. And yeah, probably the best US Grand Prix we've had, I'd say, ever, wouldn't you?
Because Hamilton won it or something.
I'm just saying that the circuit in general, sorry, I wasn't being specific to that
Okay.
Yeah, in particular Grand Prix, just as
Yeah,
a venue. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I prefer this to Indianapolis. A lot of people say we should go back to Indianapolis, and I'm like, no, I don't like that track. You're racing on some infield of motor speedway. Don't like it.
Yeah, of course, the first proper F1 purpose-built circuit, and Tommy Rill goes fastest, 29.8. Tommy has been looking extraordinarily fast in the pre-race build-up and time trial sessions, and that is definitely a good banker. Short qualifying here today, so just over 13 and a half minutes remain of this short qualifying format. Make sure you share the stream out, get as many viewers as you can, because me and Matt, we don't like to talk to ourselves. We do like to talk to you at the same time, if at all possible.
Well, yeah, I'm just looking now. We got Aki's gone out on the medium tyre, and he's the only driver to do that. Do you think that's a good strategy to try here? Is there an advantage to going on mediums?
It's a tricky one. Are you looking at a two-stop here anyway, or is it more of a one-stop hards?
It's a one-stop, I think. I don't know if it's soft mediums or soft hards, but it is a one-stop.
Yeah, from memory, if it serves me correctly, it will be a one-stop onto the hard tyres. It is a very brutal track in terms of tyre wear. If you can hang out them softs as much as possible, maybe the medium will be possible, but that will be for the better drivers. And Rooney only P4, of course, he's the benchmark for this season, and 30.4, just behind James. Impressive lap from him. And Pez, we haven't seen Pez for a while in this league, have we, Matt?
We haven't seen Pez, but I'm pretty sure it's been about a season since we saw him, but he's here, he's back, and he's P2 at the moment, and expect him to be right up there because me and Rich know we race with Pez quite regularly. He is a very, very fast driver.
He's very fast indeed. Another new driver to the grid is CSR Maitland that will be reserving and filling the gaps, and he does a 31.6. And yeah, maybe looking to improve on that. Let's check in with Ludlow in the Alfa Romeo. He's having some good battles last time out. Using a lot of the curb there. Really have to commit around this circuit. Very easy to invalidate whilst doing so, and also to put it into the barrier. Spinala, plenty of runoff of course in certain areas, but it can bite you in the backside this track. And coming through sector 3, this triple right-hander that we was talking about, very satisfying when you nail it completely, run it out as wide as you can onto the exit. And these final 2 corners, not too committed there. Of course you want to get a banker lap in early on, and around the final corner tricky to carry speed through there up to the line, and that is a 30.6, so a decent lap there to kick Ludlow off. It's currently Tommy Real front half. Go on, front half up in P2, Pez in third, James Ludlow, Rooney, Ludlow, Weston's Vettel, Lambert, Celtic Speed, Dacey, Maitland and Aki have all set a lap time. We've got a couple of cars on the out lap. Currently 16 drivers in this one. Hope to have a few more on the way. We need to have full grids, boys. Come on, let's make it worth our while.
Yeah, come on lads, let's turn up and actually go racing. Get rid of those grids of 15 or 16. We want the full grid, else we'll have to put Richie in racing with you, and you know, you don't want that. I mean, trust me, he's very dangerous out on the track. Wouldn't want to go near him.
One of the filthiest drivers you'll ever meet. I've been compared to the likes of Maldonado, you know, Kevin Magnussen, and recently the Mazepin as well, you know, so you don't want to meet me on track.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that I have to be your teammate is actually a joke, to be honest. How I ended up with you, I do not know. It's really upsetting.
The feeling's mutual, Matthew. We race together on Mondays in calendar season racing. If you want more F1 action, do check out CSR_F1 for Monday night's action. HSA as well is hosted on the same channel on Thursdays, and we do some F2s as well. And if you want to get involved in any of the racing or this league here today as well, do reach out to any of us, CSR Skills, or we've also got the main man for this league, which is Rooney 2003 No Space.
Speaking of Rooney, he's down in P5 at the moment. We saw him have a bit of a tough time in quali last time out. He did win the race in the end, in the wet race. Yeah, he's not doing too well in the quali at the moment.
Well, we sort of had an inkling as to why last time, and there's big news. I think it's happened again. Oh yeah, we're loving this, man. We're gonna have a wet race.
Oh, I've just seen a message from Maitland. Yeah.
Get in there, boys. A wet race coming up at Kota. Could you ask for more? I don't think so. So compromise setups. Of course, drivers will be looking for that bit more ride height, maybe a bit more aerodynamics on the car, maybe, you know, a bit less harsh on the anti-roll bars. But what are your real do's and don'ts when it comes to wet setup, Matt? How do you like the car to behave and to feel for you?
You're going to set the car up to understeer, that is for sure. You don't want oversteer in the rain, that would just be horrible. You're going to up the ride height a little bit, maybe soften up your suspension. You know, you just really make those changes to make the car a lot more stable in those low grip conditions.
Yeah, you just want to be a bit more compliant. I think this will be good for anyone who does pick up quite a lot of penalties around this circuit, because you're going to have to be a bit more cautious and respect the curbs a lot more around the race itself. But yeah, it's going to be a drive to survive around the US Grand Prix here at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Yeehaw! We're going to have a wet race, boys.
We just made this all worthwhile. Do love a good bit of wet racing. And yeah, we saw it last week, so they've all got some practice in the rain. I don't know how many of them will have done any practice driving here in the rain. Have you driven here in the wet before? Is it a good one to do in the wet, or is it one of those ones that it's just a whole load of pain?
No, I've not driven around here in the wet, and I choose not to as well, Matt. That's a lifestyle choice. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. We have seen a wet race here in real life. We had the 2015 US Grand Prix, and what a crazy one that was. It was one we thought at one point the Red Bulls were going to win. Ricardo and Kvyat, as it was back then, were looking very, very fast early on. But in the end, it was the usual suspects. It was Hamilton and Rosberg. And of course, that was the race Lewis won his third world title.
Well, I suppose Rosberg bottled it as well, if I'm quite correct. Wasn't he in front of Lewis and went off track?
I don't want to talk about it, Rich.
I was very happy to see that happen. Very happy indeed. All I say is a Hamilton fanboy, as you might call me. I don't care. You know, label me or whatever you want, but I love Lewis.
Ah, we know.
So just to
okay,
recap. Oh, sorry, mate.
Yeah, you go on.
So the championship order last time out, it was Rooney, he won the Grand Prix, Tommy Real came in P2, Dacey in P3, and then it's Dyslexic, Lawn, Pullen, Drazzy, front half, Yanni Jans, Lucky Lambert is your top 10 in your driver's standings, and that means in the constructors, Ferrari lead the way on 34 points to McLaren on 25, then we have Mercedes, Alfa Tauri, Alfa Romeo, Renault and Haas. Williams yet to score a point, as well as Racing Point and Red Bull. Will they open their accounts this weekend? We sincerely hope so.
Yeah, we got Rooney, who has invalidated his lap and has just pulled back into pit lane. He's really going to be feeling that pressure now. He's P5 at the moment. He can definitely perform a little bit better than that. Yeah. He'll be looking to get that lap in late and push him up the order.
It's going to be tricky. Put himself under pressure. When you're under pressure here, very easy to, wreck your lap. So, who's your pick for pole?
Whoever put a dry setup on because they didn't realise it was raining. It's a very me thing to do that. I would definitely do that. Who's looking fast? Tommy Real is obviously 0.2 faster than his nearest rival at the moment, so he's looking like a favourite. Pez, I think we've got a bit more to see from him. He could definitely jump up there. And yeah, Thron half, also not a million miles away.
Ludlow has just improved and put himself up into 4th position. So both the Alfa Romeos having a good showing, and we're on board with front half at the minute. Can he improve as he comes down that long back straight? This is going to be a key battleground over the course of the Grand Prix. DRS activation zone and a quite heavy braking zone at the end of it. So that's where you're going to try and get most of your business done during this Grand Prix. Of course, they won't have DRS in effect unless it does dry up at some point in the Grand Prix. And that is always due to safety concerns. You don't want to be having less downforce when you have a waterlogged track, basically. So 4 minutes left. Who's impressed you so far, Matt?
It's got to be Tommy Real, hasn't it? He came straight out the blocks and he went straight onto provisional pole, and nobody's really challenged him since. Been a solid job from him.
Steering up to the line, front half with a 30.1 as his fastest lap so far. Everyone opting for the soft compound of tyre and just waiting for that final blast around the circuit, and when the track is really peaking at its best and there's the most amount of rubber down on the surface itself. So who's preparing for a lap? Anyone you can see, Matt?
We got Pez is on his out lap. He's just going to start, and he's second on the grid at the moment, so he'll be definitely fighting for that provisional pole slot. We'll see if he can get it in his Honda-powered Alfa Tauri.
Looking after the tyres, making sure they're not too hot. It's very easy to heat up the tyres, really putting so much load through them. Give us a tour of the Grand Prix circuit here, Matt, as we rocket past the start-finish straight.
So you're going to run up the hill towards that first corner. Uphill braking, so you can brake nice and close to the corner. Don't lock up the inside front as the track flattens out. And it's downhill traction zone, very easy to lose the rear end before we swing into the S's. You want to take these first two flats out, left and right, little lift to make sure you're on the right part of the track, and then you come down a couple gears into 5th, keep the car over to the right. Now keep the car as far left as you can to set yourself up nicely for the right, and you want to take this left flat out if you can. Pez having to lift off a little bit there, that will cost him time. They're going to come downhill towards this hairpin. Really crucial to sacrifice your entry to get a good exit, because your exit will choose how fast you get all the way down this straight. DRS opens up and we now blast into 8th gear, and this is where we're going to see a lot of those overtakes made in the race. Arriving at this tricky braking zone, it's quite a tight corner, tightens up on the exit, don't lock the inside front as the track falls away from you. Back on the throttle, and the track sort of comes back on itself here, and Pez is 0.04 of a second up. Careful on the throttle here, and avoid that first apex here at the left, and hit the second one nicely. You want to launch yourself off the exit into the out right-hander. You're going to try and take a tight line here if you can, just reduce the distance. In real life you'd run out wide, but in the game you can just hug it in nice and tight. Pez attacking that penultimate corner. You need to do that, very easy to run out wide. Last corner, uphill acceleration on the throttle, DRS open, and CSR Pez improves his lap by 57 thousandths, but it's not enough for provisional pole here at COTA.
So a very decent lap time. That will be it, I do believe, from Mr. Pez, and so the lap times are going to be coming in thick and fast as just over 1 minute ticks on down. Weston's up to the line. Can he improve? He moves himself up to P5 with a 1 minute 30.3. A very decent lap from Mr. Weston's himself. We've got Celtic speed through sector 1. Anyone else about to finish a lap that you can see, Matt?
Just going to try and have a look through. I think there's more of them just starting their lap now.
Jans, Aki just kicked off.
The next one to finish the lap will be Drazzy, and he's currently 0.3 up at the end of the second sector.
So of course, use and abuse your tyres if we do have a wet start to this one. It doesn't matter what rubber you have on the car now, you can really go gung-ho scenario 7 and really push to the max. And here comes Drazzy around the final few corners, looking good in that black livery Mercedes. Number 9 car of Drazzy up to the line. Will he improve currently? Yes, he does. A great lap from Drazzy. A 30.2 puts him provisionally 4th on the grid.
Next up to the line would be Maitland, but he invalidated his lap. I'm not sure he's got the ERS to go again. He's already down to 30%, so that might be qualifying over for Maitland. He'll be starting P14 unless he can pull off some kind of a miracle with that low battery on the final lap. Who's next to the line? I think it's going to be Lorne.
There's Lonely Boy, the second Mercedes, only good enough for 11th for him, and he'll be a bit disappointed. Checkered flag is now out, so it's time to wrap up your lap times. Let's check in with the big man. Rooney down in 9th. Can you believe this? This is real pressure now.
Yeah, that's not where he wants to be, especially if it's going to rain. You don't want to be in the midfield off the start. He is improving on his time though, and if he can just keep it clean, he'll expect to jump up a few places. He's coming through the final sector now.
He's 4 attempts up on his best time, which would put him around 4th if he doesn't bottle it on this lap. Here he comes, final few corners for Mr. Rooney. And it's P3. Tight margins. 4 thousandths separate him and Pez.
Pez has.
Yep.
Yeah, Pez invalidated his final run. What else we got? That Ludlow just went P4. Good lap there from him. I think everyone else is invalidated unless Maitland is improving. He crosses the line. Does improve. Stays P15. So Maitland's got a lot to do then in the race.
So Tommy Rill takes pole position here at the Circuit of the Americas with a 1 minute 29.875, which he set so early on in the session. So crucial to get a banker lap in. It just shows here for good measure. And then we've got Pez just over a 10th behind him, as well as Rooney. Really tight, that top 3, and that is going to be an interesting battle. And see who's got the best wet setup and who's most comfortable in the wet and wild conditions here at COTA. Then we've got Ludlow just over a quarter of a second behind them in P4. Then front half his teammates. So a good showing from the Alfa Romeos in 4th and 5th. Then we've got James, Drazzy, Westons, Yanni Jans, Lucky Lambert, Celtic Speed, Lorne, Aki, Vettel, Maitland and Dacey is your grid for the US Grand Prix.
Did I just see, hang on a minute, 3 people have done the same lap time?
Where? I didn't
10,
see
11 and 12.
That's unlucky. How does it work out? First one to set it, or do we need a 4th digit? No way.
It's, yeah, the first one. Oh my, and then P13 is only 3 thousandths back as well. It's done so the first person to set the time gets the position, but wow,
That's a
That's
glitch in
mad.
the Matrix.
Yeah, wow, that is amazing. That has happened before in real Formula One. That happened at, I think it was the 1997 Grand Prix at Jerez, where we had three drivers set the exact same time for pole position.
It was lucky for Lambert that he got his first.
Yeah, there you go. That's why his gamer tag is what it is.
So I'm going to grab a quick refreshment. We'll be right back for the start of the Grand Prix. Just going to have a few minutes break. So strap yourselves in, grab your popcorn, because we're going to have a wet and wild US Grand Prix. Yeehaw! Things you love to see. Rain, rain. Being British, of course. We love a bit of rain.
Oh, you do just love to see it. And look, it's proper rain as well. That looks like wet tire rain,
Oh, it's
not
raining,
just
raining.
inters. It's raining, raining.
Can you share the stream to the ROM chat? Need to get these boys in here, mate. I mean, there's
I
15
did.
people racing, so 16. You did, yeah?
I did earlier, and I don't know if we got. I can share it in again and be like, I can shout at them this time because they're probably all looking in the Discord now, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's you know what? For all the times they ping everybody, I'm gonna ping everyone.
Ping now, ping
This is,
now.
this is a payback for all the times I get pings I don't want. Get on the stream, please. Thanks. Smiley face because I'm a nice guy.
Thanks. So yes, we've missed the US Grand Prix over the last due to COVID. We didn't travel to the US of A, or any part of the Americas. We did stay over in Europe and the Middle East for this season. It's pretty much looking that way this year. Of course, the US is later on in the season. We might get across there. You never know. But the 2019 pole time from Mr. Bottas was a 1 minute 32. So it just goes to show how fast these cars are and how fast these boys are, that I don't think not one of our drivers set a 1 minute 32. It was all above that. Winner's average speed around here, you look at about 122 miles per hour around this circuit as your average speed, which just boggles the mind. And the fastest lap in the Grand Prix was set by Mr. Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari of a 136 when they did have that naughty engine installed, and of course doing some fuel irregularities, which the FIA don't really want to talk about much. And yeah.
No idea what you possibly could be talking about there, Rich. Never cheated. Have Ferrari, a perfectly respectable team that did not cheat with their engine in 2019. It's always rumours, it's myths, it didn't happen. I think Mercedes were cheating, actually, yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. And it was never swept under the carpet at all. Because it was this Grand Prix, in actual fact, that I believe the new technical directive was given out, and you could see on the GPS itself you know, just a drop off in the straight line speed of the Ferrari. And yeah, all the teams wanted to know a bit more, but the FIA, Ferrari International Assistance, of course, did sweep it under the carpet and said, you didn't see nothing here. Please carry on and keep moving. Thank you very much. Keep moving. Nothing to see here.
Yep, still no idea what you could possibly be talking about. Nothing of the sort. We just very legal engine that was just very powerful, and that meant we only won at tracks like Belgium and Monza. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. We just bending the rules, Rich. It's using their initiative. Very, you know.
Well, that's what F1's all
feel.
about, you know, isn't it, really, when it comes down to it, is trying to bend the rules, trying to exploit every avenue. And if you're not doing that, you're not engineering to its fullest. What was it they was doing before? Burning oil as well, wasn't they, Matt? I think.
Yeah, people burning oil, and then they got told you don't do that, and then Ferrari did something else, and yeah, and now we're just slow. We've run out of things in the cheat book, so we're just slow.
Need a new cheat code for the new year. But here we go. Race Control have given us the green light here for the Circuit of the Americas. We're going to have a formation lap. And this, again, like we said last week, is going to be crucial for all of the drivers to get to grips, in essence, with the circuit, feel the traction zones, feel the do's and don'ts. And it's going to be really tricky. At least turn one is uphill. And that's going to give, hopefully, you know, a bit of room for the drivers to make any errors if they have to. There's quite a big run off there. But as we lead off the line, Tommy Rill is going to start on the front row of the grid here for the US Grand Prix. He's going to have CSR Pez, who is a fast charger. I don't know if wet conditions are his forte. We're about to find out. Then we've got Rooney behind us, who did win in the wet last weekend out. Then we've got Ludlow and Fronhalf in them Alfa Romeos, who had a good performance last week, but did get tripped over a few times. James in P6, Strazzy P7, Westlands in P8, Yanni Jans in P9, and Lucky Lambert in P10. Then just outside of it, we've got Mr. Celtic Speed, one of the owners of this league. Then we've got Lorne, Aki, Vettel, Mr. Maitland, and Dacey rounding out your order. Who are going to be the ones to watch here, Matt? And what are you expecting ahead of this Grand Prix?
Spins, and more spins. I'm expecting crashes, carnage. It's all going to be kicking off over the next 45 minutes, in my opinion. Pez has been trained by Mr. Snipes SB, who is like the master of the wet weather. So I think he might have a few things to say. We'll see how he does. And those S sections on the opening lap that always cause carnage. Have you ever seen people race there in the wet on the opening lap?
Yeah, expect to see a few of them take to the escape road when it just snaps on them, and they're going to have to just try and dive out of it and take to the escape road, or, you know, Spinala. That are your two options, or a massive crash. You know, you're about to find out. It's going to be hectic. It's going to be crazy. It's very wet, and it's going to get wild here in Austin, Texas. Do we like it any other way?
Absolutely not.
No. Tommy Rill, he had a good performance last time out in the wet, but unfortunately, due to safety car as well, did hinder him. He's going to hope that the safety car gods play into his hands this week, this time out at Kota. And Rooney down in P3, Pez in between. Who's your money on? Let us know in the chat below. We're going to hand over for Mr. Connerbeer for the start here in Austin, Texas.
Commentating over a race start is always fun, but doing it when it's raining is just even better. The cars then pull into their grid slots. The first one to do so will be the pole sitter. That's Tommy Rill. He's in that number one slot. He can see no cars ahead of him. Just that long run down towards the first corner. I say down, it's actually up towards the first corner. Dacey is P16 and last on the grid. Pulls into that slot now. And we will then wait for the 5 lights to come on ahead of the drivers. Here we go then, lights come on ahead of the drivers here in Austin, Texas. We're used to sun, but we've got plenty of rain. It is lights out, and away we go. It's a good start for Tommy Rill, not a good start for CSR Pez. He's already dropped behind Rooney. Great start from the McLaren, who sends one to the outside. at the first corner. Has he gone in deep? Will that allow Pez up the inside? No, it will not. Rooney's just nailed that start then to make up places already. We've got yellow flags through the first corner. That might just be for everybody having to go so slow, and they're all struggling to just keep it on this track here. In these low grip conditions, there's a racing point gone off there. We can see at the side of the screen, that's Weston's, who's already made the barriers and is out of this race.
Big collision. Looks like we've got a full course caution and we've got yellow flags all the way around, and that is not what you want to see on the opening lap of the Grand Prix. It's only a VSC deployed on the opening lap, and Weston's, we feel for you, man. It looks like just maybe a bit of contact, something got pushed out wide and he couldn't stop in time for the barrier. That is what happens when it's in these wet conditions, and damn, it looks like everyone else came through unscathed, I want to say. It looks like everyone's front wings are on the right piece of the car, and let's have a look at the position changes as we get ready for green flag racing once again. So Rooney's up 1 place, James up 2, Lucky Lambert's up 3, Vettel up 5 positions off his start line, Maitland up 3, as well as Dacey, and Celtic Speed is the real loser, down 4 slots off the grid.
Yes, he is ending then, and we are back to green flag racing. And I think Maitland might have just got a sneaky move on Dacey there, right off the restart. So nice stuff there from CSR Maitland as they all now try and navigate their way through this tricky final sector on those wet conditions. And it's this corner, the long right-hander. It'll be so hard to keep the rear end in check. It's just going to want to slide out on you all of the time. As Lucky Lambert thrown half side by side, and it's Lucky Lambert who puts himself up into P6.
Front half just had a moment on the rear end there, lost a bit of traction, that lost him that crucial momentum, and you can see Tommy Real, is he getting past there? No, it's just a standing. Please excuse me, I never learn. It always suckers me in every single time, Matt. And heading up in towards turn 1, Drazzy having a little look up the inside, doesn't get the move done, and we've got Maitland up in P5. No, that's not in P5, Richard. Please don't pay attention to the standings, I'm going to get rid of them for just a moment. Let me know when they're fixed, Matt.
Rich, you literally said they
Yes.
always get me, I need to stop, and then 5 seconds, Rich. 5 seconds and you're already getting sucked in by it again. They're sorting themselves out. Give him a moment, I'll let you know.
So the leaders have absolutely checked out. It's Tommy Real and Rudy who just streets ahead from the rest of them. You can see down in P3 we've got Mr. Pez, who's looks like he's struggling for pace at this point. Rooney starting to turn the screw, really apply the pressure to Tommy Real in the lead of this Grand Prix.
You can turn your timing tower back on now, it has sorted itself out. And yes, the SR Pez is just struggling a bit for grip here. Perhaps not so suited to these wet conditions. We'll see how that develops. Obviously over the race, it's one that the drivers will be learning the track each and every lap. And we'll see how it all works out come the checkered flag.
Everyone taking it nice and easy. Nice to see no penalties. Very easy to even pick up a penalty on the opening lap round here when it's 2 by 2 through them S's. But everyone doing a good job of keeping it clean. Waiting for a commentator's curse to see a car off in the background, but not so lucky on that occasion.
Rooney there sets the fastest lap of the race. He is right up behind Tommy Real, and as it was last week, I think it was those two now back bumper to bumper once again.
It looks like we've got a good battle brewing here. Drazzy really closing up to the back of front half, and he's bringing a few boys with him as well. That battle all the way up to Ludlow, it seems. Battle for P5. It looks like it will be a good one throughout this Grand Prix. Quite a few drivers in the same sort of pace of each other. Rooney looks pretty good through Sector 1. Really gaining on the leader through there. Taking some huge chunks out of him.
Yeah, like it was last week, the battery management in these wet conditions goes out the window. They will be using all they have all of the time. Is that going to help or hinder you if you're trying to make an overtake? Because the car ahead will just always have the batteries to defend with.
Yeah, well, it's a tricky one. Like, if it's like for the battle of the lead, I think it always pays to be second, because you can see if he outbrakes himself. You can see if you can brake a bit later. You know, he's always that benchmark, the first one to, to break that ground, to be the first man there. And he's your reference point if you're chasing him. I think it's always harder to lead in wet conditions. I don't know about you, man.
Yeah, for sure it is harder to lead in those wet conditions. And we saw that in 2018 at the German Grand Prix. I'm not going to go into detail, it's a bad memory, but a driver who drove a red car was leading a race and then it started raining and he did a slip and slide.
That was as a Mercedes fan, even that was heartbreaking for me to see Mr. Vettel at his home Grand Prix with his head in his hands. And I think that really broke him, and that was the beginning of the end, shall we say, for his Scuderia days.
Yeah, it's sad, but hopefully he comes back next season with Aston Martin, as we've got Maitland has retired. Good job, Maitland. You're really carrying the CSR name there. Well done.
So my pre-race prediction has come to fruition. We did say that he would bottle it, and he has. We preferred you to have done it on track, but never mind.
We told him pre-race we had no expectations of him, and that is why. Well done, Mr. Maitland. Look at Rooney's 3/10 away from the race lead here. Might he be thinking about making that move soon?
Let's keep a close eye on it. He's got a lot to lose. He goes down the inside, as you said that. And this is for the lead of the Grand Prix. We go wheel to wheel. The Ferrari's going to have the inside for the next corner. Rooney's going to have to hang it out the long way. He'll be able to get on the power a bit earlier. It gets pushed up on the curbs. You have to be careful not to get sideways. But now he's got the inside on the left-hander here. And Tommy's going to have to concede a position. Or is he? He's going to get on the power nicely there. They're going to go wheel to wheel again around the triple right-hander. Rooney's going to have a bit more of a shallow line. And it's going to allow the Ferrari to come back on him, but looks like Rooney's got the job done.
Nicely done there from Mr. Rooney. He just put the car in all the right places. Tommy Real was getting that better traction, but the corner came up too soon, and he would have to have tried to go around the outside, which is just about doable in the dry, not so in the wet, and they come on to the main straight now. Can Tommy Real retake the lead? He may have to do this one early if he doesn't have the pace to stay with Rooney. We'll see. Rooney goes in a little bit deep. Does that allow Tommy to get the launch, to have a go at him down into the S's? No, it doesn't. Rooney just gets enough traction in the end.
You're going to have to pick your battles in this one, because you can easily push too hard and destroy your race. You know, spin it right round, baby. And it looks like Lucky Lambert is really closing in on Ludlow further down the field. And Rooney's already checking out over half a second gap to Tommy now.
Yeah, Rooney just seems to have the pace in these wet conditions. We saw it last week at the Sochi Autodrome, and we're seeing it here at Circuit of the Americas. He just knows where to find that grip, and he might just begin to pull away here. And Pez has just built that gap to James now as well a little bit. He's under a bit less pressure, but the gap behind them is still looking all very close. They're all in a bit of a train, and someone's surely got to make a move soon in this train, and yeah, get it done.
This race is probably going to come down to strategy. We don't know the full extent of the weather conditions, but let's assume that it's going to be wet for the foreseeable future, and you'd probably expect a one stop for another set of inters, Matt.
Yeah, we got yellows flags and stuff. Not sure what that's for. But, there were yellow flags sector 2. If it stays wet the whole time, it's predictably a one stop, just inters and then inters again, although some people may try and do it without pitting. How is Celtic Speeds P15 behind Maitland still? How has that happened?
You're going to have to thank Codemasters for that one.
I will write them an email thanking them.
Yeah. Maybe send them some flowers along with it.
I was thinking a basket of muffins actually.
What a guy, homemade as well probably.
Yeah, obviously. We don't need that store-bought business. We make them from scratch, you know. Got to put that effort in for Codemasters.
Front half really having trouble through sector 1, and Drazi trying to close in on the back of him, and almost there. Vettel, a number of cars picking up penalties. You've got Vettel now in the book, and front half getting really sideways. That's going to cost him that exit speed. He's going to cover off the line, and Dries is going to have to check off some speed there. I think we're going to see an overtake down the back straight now.
Drazi looks to the inside, the hairpin before the straight, couldn't get it done, and he's still struggling for traction, even in 5th gear there, when he's trying to use that overtake button. He's now slipstreaming through on half, slipstream, goes to the inside, can he get the move, doesn't brake stupidly late, and he's been a bit squeezed there on the inside, and Drazi has to tuck him behind, and that might allow Vettel to have a look now. He's in the background of this battle, and you've got to say there, Drazi, perhaps a little bit cautious on the brakes.
Yeah, sometimes when you see a gap, you have to go for it, you have to send it, make it stick, otherwise, you know, you could become a cropper. And it looks like Vettel is just licking his lips and waiting for it to all unfold in front of him and pick up the pieces. There's Lucky Lambert now all over the back of Ludlow as well. He's getting impatient, he wants to get this move done, maybe on the way up towards turn 1. Interesting fact about turn 1, it's actually steeper than the Eau Rouge and Radion complex. Doesn't necessarily look it, but it's a lot steeper and it's a lot shorter run up towards turn 1. Ludlow going defensive covers off the inside line. Lambert's going to brake later, get that inside line, now gets the switch back on. We're going to go wheel to wheel. Who's going to have the better traction as we approach the S's? And you've got that one optimal line where the standing water's being cleared and Ludlow holds onto it.
There's a good effort there from Lucky Lambert. Ludlow goes in a bit deep. That allows the Haas just to close up so significantly there. Already back onto the rear end of that car once again. We've got his Drazi looking like he might want to get the move on Thron half this time around as well. I think it's Lucky Lambert who's definitely looking very close to that Ludlow. He wants to get the move done. As has Lorne gone around and made a mistake though. He's just lost a couple places.
Let's have a look down the order. Yanni Jan's losing out to Dacey as well. No damage there, so maybe just a moment on traction. And for a moment, Maitland had made an overtake.
What a move from Maitland. What a move.
This is going to be a long old race, boys and girls. We're only on lap 7 of 28. It's a real tough circuit at the best of times. And Lambert getting a bit wide there. Front half's going to get on the power nicely. And we're all converging here in the battle for P5. And that's what you like to see.
Rooney sets the fast lap of the race. He's just controlling this one now from the front. We've got yellow flags in sector 3. Do we know what that's for?
Oh, it's Vettel.
Vettel who's gone. Oh, yeah, he was in that train fighting for P5, but he's made a mistake coming out of the high-speed right-hander. He's dropped the car and he's now down to P13. He's now going to make his way into pit lane for a potential wing change, I should think.
Yeah, got extensive damage on the front wing there. Must have just spun it around, clipped a barrier, and very unfortunate. It was going very strongly on Mr. Vettel. Let's hope he gets back into the race. Maybe a safety car or something later on in the Grand Prix. But so far, it's Rooney that leads the way. He's been extending his advantage throughout this opening stint. Now 2.5 seconds the gap to Tommy Rill, who did start on pole position, of course. Pez is currently in third in no man's land. And then we've got the battle with James and Ludlow around 2 seconds. And then this big train from P5 downwards, which is going to have the most of the action, you'd say, throughout this Grand Prix.
Yeah, I feel a bit bad for Pez right now. He's probably having a really boring race. In no man's land there in P3, just having to drive laps and laps of this circuit of the Americas in these wet conditions. We arrived then at the braking zone on board with Lucky Lambert, can't get the move done. We're all just holding station for the time being in that midfield battle.
Yeah, if you're going to do a one stop here, you're going to want to do it a bit earlier than your competitors, and it's going to be a massive undercut, I feel. And yeah, look at this big news coming from race control, Matt.
Oh yes, there is, because your race leader, Rooney 2003, has picked up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits.
And this race can definitely be lost on time penalties, and Tommy, that's going to give him extra incentive to stay with the leader now as we come in to start lap 9 of the US Grand Prix here in Austin. And yeah, this is going to be all about patience, this race now.
Yeah, pit window will sort of open around about that 12-ish, if it's inters to inters. However, we may, I don't know whether the tyre wear will be bad enough around here to stop anybody from doing a no stop. I reckon someone might just try it.
Yeah, I mean, you've got nothing to lose, and of course, the longer you leave, you stay out. And front half off. Front half. He's had a big moment, just held on to it, but he's lost a number of positions there. And Lacey gets through as well, down to 9th for front half. And you know, that's going to be the risk, Matt. The longer you stay out on them worn tyres, the more of them kind of moments are going to happen, where you're just going to kick the back end out, and yeah, you're going to lose it.
Yeah, and meanwhile, while that was happening, Vettel had another spin, I think out of the penultimate corner that time, into the barrier, and he's had to box once again, and he will really be hoping for a safety car now to bring him back into this one.
Yeah, our advice is always to stick with it, because you never know. We've seen safety cars with 2 laps to go, and you can still win the Grand Prix. There's plenty of penalties throughout the field. Just keep it smooth, consistent, and keep going. For some reason it says Celtic speed is 4 laps down. I don't know what the FIA have got against him, but we've got Vettel out of the race. That's his car pulled over in sector 1.
There was a virtual safety car. Yeah, I should think that'll be a third mistake in these first 10 laps for Vettel in quite quick succession. He was doing very well, and then it all just got away from him. Very unfortunate for him. We've got lots of cars though using this as the opportunity to make their pit stop. So let's see who stays out then. Rooney, Tommy and Pez have stayed out, so has Lorne. Everyone else, I think, has come into the box, apart from Aki. He stayed out as well.
So if you just want to explain to the viewers why you would choose to box under a VSC, Matt.
Everyone on track under the VSC is having to stick to a delta time. That means they're going to be going slower, and that means that the sort of the difference between the speed that they're doing on track and the speed that you're limited to in the pit lane is far less, so you lose less time by making a pit stop, and that might cost the leaders here who failed to make their pit stop.
Yeah, you can save a massive handful of seconds by pitting under a VSC. Of course, that might be a bit more mitigated because of the wetter conditions, but it's always beneficial. We've seen races won under the safety VSC by diving into pit lane. I think it came out just the wrong time for the likes of Rooney and the top 3, because they just flown on by the pit entry. But here we go on the back straight. Drazzy is lining up Ludlow. Tommy Real was really reeled in Mr. Rooney up at the front there. Now 1.4 the gap. Considerably more before the VSC man.
Yeah, that might be Rooney just sort of taking it easy under the VSC. Of course, you don't want to pick up a drive-through for speeding behind the VSC. And we got Tommy Real just moving into the wet parts of the track there, perhaps trying to cool his tyres. They're overheating, and as Rooney, gone a little bit wide there through the first corner, and that allowed Tommy Real to close right up through the apex of the corner. Yeah, Rooney definitely not exempt from a few mistakes then. Yeah,
Rooney pushing extra hard, using a lot of curb, more than the doctor would order in these conditions, and putting himself in harm's way. You know, they say go hard or go home. That's going to be the case here today. So the highest person to have boxed is currently James 95, and he's currently down in P6, and he is currently 29 seconds behind the lead of this one. So we do think they're safe. What do we expect a pit stop to be? Around 25, 20? What do we think?
Yeah, it's probably, you'll probably lose around 20 odd seconds. Low 20s it's normally, isn't it? Probably 22. It's Rooney again. He's just going very wide into a few corners, and that's allowing Tommy Real to close right up to him. Rooney perhaps struggling for grip on his inter, so expect him to come in sometime soon.
James really motoring along now, and has moved himself up into P5, so we're going to keep an eye on that gap. Celtic Speed has left the session, And if you want to try and get him back in, my friend. So
Yeah.
you can see a bit more of him today.
Celtic. There he is. I would love to invite him to the game, but Xbox will not let me.
Copy that, copy.
But then, if you're now one of these this leading pair, if you are planning on making a pit stop and not doing the unusual strategy of going for the no stop, you maybe now want to start thinking about getting that undercut. And I think that time is now. If I were one of these guys, I would be coming into pit lane.
And this battle is really heating up. It looks like Aki is struggling. Ludlow is getting impatient because he's got Drazzy all over the back of him. And if you're one of these boys here, you're definitely going to want to pull the trigger come the end of this lap. Dive into the pit lane. Because just look at James. He's just marched on off. After he's got past Aki, he's now 2.9 seconds up the road. So that is really working that fresh rubber on the cars.
Here comes Ludlow. He looks to the inside of the McLaren. He's going to have to outbrake him into the corner. Should be easy enough. I think Aki is on some far more worn inters. Down the inside goes Ludlow and gets someone done as the Mercedes having a look as well there. That's Drazzy in the background. Couldn't get anything done on that occasion. And the two leaders have both come into the pits at the same time.
It's going to be a battle of the mechanics. Who's going to get out first? Of course, Rooney did have a second advantage. And this battle, we can't take our eyes off of it. Because Lucky Lambert and Dacey, having a real ding-dong battle here. And I expect to see a big pile into the pits.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see which ones of these guys pit and which don't. Let's have a look. Are they all staying out? They are. I thought we were going to see some of them pit. Pez is pitted, but I think one of those guys I would have expected to go for the undercut.
But they've all stopped, that's why. My bad.
Ah.
It's only Aki
there we
who's
go.
not stopped, and Lorne. So silly goose. Oh, here we go. Aki's had a bit of a moment on traction, it seems. Drazzy threw up to P7. It's going to lose out to Dacey as well. Goes round the outside. What a move for the Williams driver. Great driving. Aki's still struggling. He's just lit up the tyres, of course, on that older rubber. And yeah, it's really killing him at this point.
Yeah, he'll be struggling for grip and he'll have to make that pit stop soon. And then he'll be right out the order for sure. So he's going to be struggling to the checkered flag. Probably hoping for a safety car to bring him right back into this one.
Yeah, sometimes you've got to roll the dice and it doesn't look like it's worked out at the moment.
I'm just going to check the warning situation. So Rooney's got his one penalty and a warning on top of that. Tommy Reel has only the one warning. But Tommy's doing a good job with the track limits right now. Yellow flags for no one, is that?
Celtic Speed has retired from the session. So
Oh.
his car's pulling over on the back straights, plenty of space out there.
So we're down to 12 in this race then.
Just over, well, just coming up to half race distance here in the US Grand Prix. And a few drivers just not fancying it today, man. Lawn into the pits.
Yeah, he's going to come out behind Lucky Lambert. I think is he going to be ahead of Aki? No, he's not. Will he be ahead of Thron Half as well? They're going to go side by side up towards turn 1. It's very easy to get squeezed on the inside here. You've got to be careful. And Yannians just leaves in space and gets that move done. Lawn's down to 12th, but will have the tyre advantage all the way to the end now.
Oh, big moment there for Front Half. Lost the back end, just held on to it, and he's lost the position to Yanni. Driver's really struggling with these tyres, or maybe too much confidence at this stage in the race. How do you think the track's looking at this point in the race? Is it improving? Is it pretty stable, Matt? What's your evaluation?
Wet is the answer. The answer is wet. Weatherman Matt in the chat. I'm going to tell you it's raining. It still looks about the same as it was at the start. And I think that's reinforced by the fact these guys have all pitted.
Drazzy and Ludlow going at it. Ludlow just about holds on. Drazzy picks up a penalty for his efforts. The Williams wants to have a look round the outside. Dacey's looking super confident at the minute, and he wants to get business done extra early. Again, going to look to the outside, get that switch back on. But no, he's going to try and hold it around the outside, and Mercedes drifting like DK himself, and the Williams is the inside line now. Surely that's going to be his position. Great drive in there from Dacey.
They're still side by side, and there's a bit of contact, and Drazzy just struggling to keep the car in a straight line there, and that's allowed Lucky Lambert to get right up into the gearbox of him. But yeah, Drazzy was almost sent spinning out of this race.
Lucky Lambert now is looking to line one up as we head up in towards turn one. That Mercedes does not look confident at all. Maybe the tyre temps have gone through the roof, I think, after a few spin-ups of the rear wheels. And he just stabilised himself now. He's slipped down the order. And talking about the order, Dacey and Ludlow. Oh, they're so close.
Dacey just right up behind him, looking like he wants to get this move done to put himself up into P5 and go with those extra 2 championship points that come with it.
Expect to see a battle for the last podium position in the next lap or so. Of course, James did pit under that VSC, really took advantage and got ahead of Pez on the pit stops, and Pez is not going to be happy with that. He's going to be seeking revenge as soon as possible.
Has not picked up a penalty as well. That's going to help him to the end of this one. And can we just give a congratulations to Tommy Real and Pez completing half the race without getting a time penalty. Good job.
Congratulations, Tommy and Mr. Pezza. Down the inside goes Dacey on Ludlow. He has to try and look for the switchback once again. Looks like track conditions are improving. Lap times are starting to tumble. It's still raining cats and dogs.
Dacey's just looking like he wants to get the move done here on Ludlow. He's in the slipstream, he's using his overtake button, he's gaining all the time in the slipstream up towards turn 1. Is he going to send it to the inside? He looks to do it, locks up both tires, but he's left the space by Ludlow. Doesn't slam the door, and that's going to allow Dacey to go down the inside. It'll be the outside for turn 2. He's going to hold it right the way round, and he's got the position and gives the Alfa Romeo a tap for his troubles. That's Dacey up to P5.
What a move! One of the moves of the day, and Ludlow's going to come under fire.
Just looked to the inside as well. Sorry to cut in. Drazzy looking at the inside there of Ludlow, and yeah, nearly got spun around again, did Drazzy.
And Dacey is loving this because he's just pulling away all the time. The Mercedes wants to fight back. He doesn't want him to get away. He's going to send it down the inside. There's contact, wheel-to-wheel racing. As they say, rubbing is racing in these parts. And here goes the Mercedes. He's going to come under fire once again. Let's bring in Lambert into the situation as well.
Ludlow gaining then, goes to the outside, ready for the corner. Can he get this move done? He's going to try and get the switch back, is he? No, just tucks in behind. Lambert in there behind as well. He looks like he wants to get this position made as well, as Ludlow just goes a bit deep. Does that invite the Haas? Then to have a look through this tricky little final sector. He is the Haas down the inside. That's Lucky Lambert, puts himself past the Alfa Romeo temporarily, but it's the Alfa who just gets the grip on the exit to go around the outside. He did struggle a bit for traction, and now Lucky Lambert trying to hold it round the outside of the final few corners. Can't get it done, tucks in behind. Ludlow holds on to P7.
They're just costing each other time at this point in the race. All of this battling, you can see they've lost out on massive leaps of time to the cars ahead. Drazzy, you know, he has 1.4 second advantage to Ludlow now. And they're just, great racing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dacey's one of my contenders for driver of the day for some of the moves he's been pulling off throughout this Grand Prix. Keep it up, son. You've been stellar so far.
He's just had that confidence, hasn't he? Just to keep pushing, keep going. And it's really worked out for him so far. He's up to P5.
Oh, what's happened here? Migrating host. Have we lost the leader?
Nothing's gone up on my screen. Have we lost you, Richie Skills? Oh no, he has gone.
He's gone.
He has. He's gone.
Let me get back.
The invite, send the invite. I'm getting the invite going. Where is he? Rooney 2003 invites. Richie, it's not letting me invite again. It's going to have to be you.
I've invited him, don't worry. He's got the message. Good. Do you do it by pressing pause, or do you go to your friends list? You have to press pause to do it.
Okay. There we go. We know for next time.
And this has really thrown a spanner in the works. He already had a time penalty, Rooney, and he's already 3 seconds adrift of the lead of this Grand Prix. Tommy Rill, his Christmas birthday, have all come at once because he's just cruising off into the sunset at this point. Now 4 seconds advantage over Rooney. Let's hope we get him back extra soon. And Mr. Pez closing in on James at this point in the race. James doing a valiant effort here to hold off the fast charging Pezza. And that battle in the midfield has been quite negated now after the cars were battling. They've lost a lot of time to each other. And saying that, Lucky Lambert is going for a move, or he's in the pit, sorry.
Yeah, Lucky Lambert goes into pit lane. Has he made his pit stop yet? Is that his first one?
We're going to have to check.
We are checking. Let's see if it updates. I don't know if it updates when he goes into pit lane or whether after the stop with yellow sector 1.
Oh,
what's that for? I think we got Ludlow.
Lucky for Ludlow. Looks like we've got damage, extensive damage there on the Alfa Romeo. Lives to fight another day though.
I can confirm that was Lucky Lambert's second stop of the race, and he changed his front wing. So he's picked up damage somewhere. And he's now back out there, back on intermediate tyres to take him all the way to the end. Pez, yeah, he looks like he wants to get a move done maybe on James. He's just tucked in behind him a little bit. He will get the place on penalties as it stands, so he doesn't need to make the move.
A bit of a yo-yo effect going on there, because he gains, and then he just slips back again. And, yeah.
Really You've got to be careful now. Dacey's right behind him as well. He's really done well to catch this battle.
Yeah, Dacey, one of the most confident drivers on the grid in these conditions. And we still haven't heard from Rooney. He's going to fall into the clutches of James at this point. James only 5 seconds behind him. I'm going to try and send another invite out.
Yeah, send him another one and just hope, because at the end of the day, we don't want to see races decided like this. It's very unfortunate, and at the moment he is going to fall behind this train of cars that is coming up behind him. So he will need to be getting back in as soon as he possibly can, because the AI, yeah, it's a little bit slow, to say the least.
As they should be. We don't want anyone pressing pause and taking advantage of the AI's capabilities, but yeah, that is damn slow. 15 seconds in a couple of laps. And another car into the pits. That is the damaged Ludlow. Hang in there, boys. There's only 12 runners. You can still pick up points here.
Taki then up to P11. And Ludlow he'll also then be one hoping for a safety car.
Rooney's about to get gobbled up. James gets past him. That means Pez will in a moment too.
So will Dacey.
Daisy's flying. Absolutely flying. He's looking to make a move on Senor Pez.
It's just not quite close enough that time around, but he's right there, and he's not going to want to waste time, because of course he hasn't, Pez has not got time penalty. Dacey does, so he'll need to get ahead and then build the advantages. Pez just struggling to get the car turned in there. He just understeered a little bit on the entry, and that might cost him a few hundredths on that lap.
James pushing really hard. Looked like he got sideways there for just a camera angle, I think. And further down the order, Rooney's lost another position. down to 6. All his hard work has been undone by Codemasters themselves.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's all going wrong. All going wrong indeed for Mr. Rooney.
He's had 2 invites, I don't know what's going on with him. Or he's lost connection. Shows him as online.
Maybe he needs to reset his game, reset his Xbox, do something. Because he can still keep going. At the moment he's still getting points. So it is worth it. It's Lucky Lambert on his fresh inters sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix.
If you want to try sending one more invite, Mr. Conabit.
Yeah.
See if it works for you. You've got yellow flag through sector 1. That is a retirement, and it looks like Lambert. No, has he just gone off? Got damage. Damage on the Haas. It's damaged more than his car. I think his pride is at stake as well here. He's clipped the front wing. Not too bad, just the end plate it seems is gone. And Rooney down another position, now down to 7th. Make that 8th position as Fronhoff has just got through as well. Next up is Lawn. He's going to be 9th by the end of this lap. Damn. So up at the front of the order, we've got something to look forward to because we've got a battle here for P2. This is the battle of the podium positions here. Tommy Real is currently out front with a 20-second advantage. Pez is currently gaining on James up towards a run into turn 1. Not quite close enough to get the move done. Basically just trying to line one up, hoping for a mistake.
Mistake that nearly came from Drazzy there as he got all sideways up that first corner. But Pez has picked up a time penalty, and now he can't just rely on the time penalties to get in the head. He'll have to make this move on track to put himself up into P2.
Yeah, where's Drazzy come from? Drazzy just thrown his hat into the ring as well. Currently P5, but he's in contention for this podium now.
And I have invited Rooney. He's still on his AI, and he's just, yeah, it's not what he wanted. It's not what he needed as well. He was doing so well, just up in the lead there. He might have lost the win on a time penalty, but we would never get to know. Lucky Lambert's just been into the pits again, not sure why.
And it's really tightening up this battle for P2. It's now a 4-way battle. James, Pez, Dacey and Drazzy. Drazzy though with 6 seconds worth of penalties, so he's the bookies' least favourite for a podium position at this point. But they're going to be costing each other time now as they're looking to get the nose up the inside, and they're starting to wear off them fresh tyres, Matt, and struggle for temperature as well. It looks like they'll be going through the roof as Rooney finally returns. Hopefully he'll be strapped into the car as soon as possible. He's now 9 seconds behind position 8, and he's going to do well to hold on to a couple of points with only a few laps to go.
Tommy Real, meanwhile, 22 seconds clear out front, just absolutely cruising.
Oh, an audacious move up the inside of turn 1. Dacey's moved himself up into P3. That was a late send if ever I've seen one, Matt. And he's up into 3rd position. And he has James in his sights. He's a man on a mission. He's sent overtakes left, right and centre today. And he's looking for one more chance.
And he's put himself in those podium places. It's the Racing Point next. But he just looks so much more confident than those guys around him. And I expect he'll be putting himself up in a P2 in the coming laps.
Wow, what a guy. He's had a great Grand Prix so far. Can he hold it together and secure himself P2 in this race? Oh, it's a bit of a moment for James on power. This is just going to gift wrap to him surely as we come down the main straight.
He's just breezed past. We've got Drazzy in the background as well.
Wow.
And Mercedes down the inside of Pez. He's got to be careful to not hit the Racing Point. He's just managed to slow it down. Pez on the outside will now have the inside The next corner, Drazzy's going to go in deep to try and outbrake his rival. Can't get it done. Pez, for the time being, will hold on to P4 or will even get Drazzy's had a look. There's contact.
No!
Oh, and Drazzy's round. Pez just keeps it straight, but Drazzy sent one to the inside. Pez looks to the inside of James. They all came together. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, it looked like there was three-way contact there. It looked like James and Pez touched as well as Drazzy. And you only need to sneeze in these conditions and you're going to spin around. And as unfortunate for Drazzy, he's going to have to work hard to catch up to this pack as Daisy is checking out already 1.6 seconds ahead of James. And yeah, you can just see his confidence oozing there. It looks like he's going to solidify that position too.
He's just absolutely controlling this little battle there is Daisy. It's Pez now who's already back on to James. He'll be looking to get this move done as soon as possible now because he now knows that Drazzy is there. Drazzy has made he's made it very clear that he's going to be a threat to the end. We'll see if Pez can make the move on the racing point as they're coming towards the end of Sector 1.
Drazzy's going to be taking no prisoners this time. Pez picks up another penalty. That's 6 seconds now. He's going to have to get it done.
Yeah, it's more penalties than the guys running. But to be fair, Drazzy's also on 6, but James only on 3. So Pez, he needs to get this done as soon as possible and build the gap and get it done this time around. Will he be close enough to make the send? He's looking to go for it down the inside. It's just not quite close enough. The racing point's left in the space though, and that might just invite Pez to go down the outside here. It'll be low grip there off the line, but it looks like Pez has just held it beautifully. He's got the position. Nicely done there.
Look at the Mercedes!
Drazzy down the inside. I thought he was going to run into the pack of CSR Pez, but Drazzy wants to send. What a move he's got. Plus James, and James in the space of a sector has gone from 3rd down to 5th.
That just shows you it doesn't it doesn't treat you well to into the pits. What's going on here?
James perhaps struggling a little bit on those intermediate tyres, and yeah, perhaps decided they would not make it to the checkered. I'm just going to put on a fresh set.
That is a big shock to the system. We thought James could just let him pass and cruise into that position. He had the advantage when it came to the penalties. As you can see, Rooney is definitely back in the house. The fastest lap of 46.0, and he's overtaken James. You can see how much James has lost down into position 9. He's not going to have enough laps to make up the difference, Matt.
No, it's I'm very surprised. I think the smart thing to do there would have been just to try and get to the end on your inters, even if they are on the verge of death.
Well, if they are on the verge of death, we're in for a treat in the final few laps of this Grand Prix. Tommy leads with a 25-second advantage to Daisy, who has been an absolute stellar star today, overtakes City. And then we've got Pez in P3, Drazzy P4, Yanni Jans P5, 4.5, 6, Lorne 7th, Rooney after that disconnect in 8th, and then James in 9th, and Aki holding on to that final points paying position. But it's all to play for with lap 24 of 28. Got a few left to go, and only one driver has kept it smooth and clean so far, and that is Mr. Tommy Real, who just starts lap 25 of 28.
We're just not making any mistakes, and he doesn't need to do that. Obviously, he's got 3.5 laps to go before he will see the checkered flag and can win here in the US of A. But of course, in the rain, anything can happen. What are you saying then for the final podium place? Who's it going to be, Pez or Drazzy?
I'd say Pez will hold on to it. He can defend well. Drazzy's not going to care though.
He's going to send it. You saw what he did to James. He will send it as he just drops some traction on the exit there. Rooney's going quite well. He's got the pace. He's just not going to have the laps to catch the guys ahead of him, which is really unfortunate of him. He'll finish down in P8 if nothing changes.
Let's keep an eye to James, of course. James on the fresh rubber behind Rooney as well. But that gap is stable as it is. It's not paying off for James. It really needs to happen ASAP. he's just thrown himself onto no man's land. He's just gonna have to sack the race engineer.
Yeah. Jeff, you're fired. If only it were that easy. Here comes Jazzy then. He's using his overtake. He's in the slipstream of Pez. Can he make the move? I think he's just going to be a bit too far behind. And he is as they arrive down at the heavy braking zone. Pez a little bit deep though. That might invite Jazzy to make the move, but not on this occasion. He'll tuck in behind and wait for another opportunity.
If anything is to go by, you do not need to give this man a second invitation. We've got a car off sector 1.
Lucky Lambert has spun. He's down to P12. And this race has just really gotten away from him now. There will be no points confirmed. And that will be last place for the Haas driver.
He's going to be cursing that corner. That's the second time we've seen him in that barrier. Second time he's picked up damage, it seems. And a real unlucky day for the home team of the Haas. We've already had the retirement of Maitland, and it looks like Lucky Lambert. It's not so lucky.
Drazzy a bit farther behind into someone. Can't get the move done. He's got 3 laps remaining to do it. We will see if he can get this one done.
So the rain has persisted throughout this Grand Prix. It's been unrelenting, this race. We've not had any safety cars. We've had a couple of VSCs, of course. And we've had the disconnect of Rooney, which has really robbed us of a battle, which we could have had. And talking of Rooney, he's just made matters worse for himself. He's picked up a penalty. But he's comfortably extending that advantage over James. Now up to 5.6 seconds, was 4.5 just a lap ago. So really not working out for James, who's just really just taken away a potential podium. And we're going to have to talk to him after this race back, because for the life of me, the mind boggles.
Yeah, we're going to teach him how to do strategy. Not even driving a Ferrari, is he? I would excuse a mistake like that if you're driving a Ferrari, because you just, you know, they're going to tell you plan D, we're going to make a 5-stop. Racing Point are normally quite good with the strategy.
So just a couple of remaining battles out on track, and we've got a car off in sector 1. Ludlow is out of the Grand Prix.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. The Alfa Romeo has made the walls, and that is him out of this race.
A bit too late for the safety car. 2 battles remain. Pez and Drazzy, front half and Lawn, both within a second of each other. And the penultimate lap here in Austin, Texas. Tommy, you just need smooth sailing. And the dub is yours.
Tommy can just back off now. He can save the tyres, save the fuel, just make sure he brings it home. As for Drazzy, there's no way he's going to be backing off in these final 2 laps, because he's just stuck right with Pez for the past 2 laps. He's not been close enough to make the move though, and I think it's about now he'll start to really just give it everything in the hopes of taking that final podium place.
Yeah, these tyres are really going off now. You can see the driver just tiptoeing around the circuit, just trying to bring it to the flag at this point. Really suffering. Drazzy's giving it absolutely everything. He's going to empty the tank. Pez, valiant defence here.
It's a lot of lockups there from Drazzy. His tyres will be screaming if that's how he's been treating them this whole race. He gets close, doesn't he, in this final sector? He just can't make the move. Maybe here into the left-hander, he might be close enough. He looks to the inside. Drazzy will go down the inside. Obviously, it's on Pez. Pez will get the superior grip on the exit, though, and just power away. And that might have been Drazzy's best chance. Just gone there.
He's going to have one more lap, one more opportunity. The leader has started the final lap of the Grand Prix, and there's one more chance for Lawn as well and front half to battle it out on this final lap of the Grand Prix. Can we just take a moment? Dacey is up 14 positions, Matt.
That's driver of the day right there, I think.
I mean, even without their positions gained, some of the moves he was making, I mean, oh my god. been a delight to watch. Thoroughly deserved podium. If he gets there, touch wood.
Here we go then, on board with Brazzy. Can he get close enough to make that move on the final lap? He's been right with Pez all the way up to this point. It's now or never. Does he risk it? Does he send it? Or does he realise that actually maybe it might just be best just to make sure he gets this P4? Yeah, and take the 12 points that come with it.
Don't be so silly, Matt. He's going to give it absolutely everything. He's going to empty the tank. And he's going to try and get the momentum down this back straight, break as deep as he can. And Rooney's trying to make up the positions as well. He's having a little look there, feints to the inside. We know he's quick through sector 3. He's just going to have to pick his lines now and pick up the pieces if the car ahead does spin up on traction. We know they're very
used. The last corner. Is he doing donuts? Tommy Reel's doing donuts.
Tommy, get it across the line. This is Binotto. Don't be so silly. He's going to donut across the line. Talk about rabbiting. As we switch back, Dacey, your driver of the day, comes through the final few corners, up 14 positions off his grid slot. He's sent it, he's been making the moves, and what a guy. He comes across the line for P2. The final podium battle is Pez and Drazzy. Pez is going to win it on track and on penalties, and it's going to be Drazzy P4, Yanni has in P5. Where's Rooney? Rooney's been trying to make up the late moves there and secures P8.
Oh, James will cross the line, like P9. Aki will get P10. Lucky Lambert P11.
I've seen some showboating, but my God.
I think you're going to have to do the interviews, mate. I'm not going to be able to cope. My... I mean, you want to win in style, that's how you do it.
Well done to Aki for bringing it home. He's stuck in there and he's going to pick up a solidarity point. For P10, Lucky Lambert is still a long way round and he's going to be our final runner here today. We've witnessed a bit of everything here today, I would say, Matt, and what an ending to the race.
Yeah, a bit of everything. We witnessed a guy do donuts before he'd won the race. I just... don't do that too often. But I guess when you're like 25 seconds clear of anyone and you had a pretty boring race after Rooney's disconnect, you just sort of had some fun with it at the line.
I mean, that's going to rub a few people up the wrong way as well. That kind of showboating, but credit where it's due. Tommy, you've done well in the wet. You've been showing some excellent pace so far this season. Long may it continue. You've definitely put a show on for the fans who have been soaked to death here today. Thank you to everyone who's joined us on board for me and Mr. Conobir for this stream. It's been a delightful one. Sometimes the Cota can disappoint without a safety car, but these guys put on a great performance. Dacey with some audacious moves throughout that Grand Prix and a deserved driver of the day. Tommy Reel, did he deserve the win? I mean, it was very unfortunate for Rooney, but he was in the right place, the right time. He brought it home without any penalties, the only man to do on the grid. And he had the pole position. He won the race. Check, check. Dacey P2, Pez P3, Drazzy, Yanni Jans, Lawn front half, Rooney, James, Aki, and unlucky for Lambert, just missing out on a point. Ludlow as well, finished, still classified, even though he did not finish the Grand Prix. And we had the rest of our DNFs of Vettel, Celtic Speed, Maitland, and Westerns. Let's try and get him in, Matt, for a quick chin wag, shall we?
Yeah, just a quick one. Oh my Jesus. Oh, he's a madman doing that.
Mr. Dacey, please include your audio. What a drive from you today. I mean, some of them overtakes were absolutely out of this world. You put on a great show on the stream. Well-deserved P2. How was your race, mate?
Oh, mate, I'm over the moon, honestly. I had a setup. I'd been putting in the time. I had a setup, and obviously the wet strikes again. You know, have to adapt the setup, make the rear more stable. But I couldn't believe that I was getting past some of the people because they were showing some really good pace. Obviously, condolences for Rooney because that's really unfortunate for him. What happened? Having disconnected, but yeah.
Yeah, got to see him out of the race, but you was like a duck to water today, literally. In them wet conditions, you was just smooth sailing throughout it. What was the technique there? What was you thinking? What was your strategy for that race?
I had, like I said, adapted the setup as much as I could for the wet, and I prefer to have race pace over quali pace. So I was expecting bad qualifying, but not as bad as it was. But yeah, I mean the setup just showed through the race. I mean it was so stable. Like I could tell I could brake later, I could push the corners harder, but yeah, I just couldn't believe how many overtakes I was making. But yeah.
Yeah, big congratulations and thank you for putting on such a show, man. Watch the stream back. You had some excellent moves there. Of course, you was there firsthand, but we was loving every single minute of it. Have we got anyone else in the party with us, Matt?
No one's joined yet. No.
Tried to invite Rooney, but I don't think he'll want to speak at this moment. Also received a message from Tommy Real. I don't know if you knew Daisy, but Tommy was actually doing donuts as he crossed the line.
I wondered how I gained about 7 seconds on him in the last corner.
Yeah, it's because he pulled over, spun the car around, and crossed the line sideways. It was quite a moment to see.
Yes, Tommy has sent me a message, but it says potentially offensive content, and it blocks me from reading it. Do unblock it? I want to read it out.
I ain't got a clue.
Well, we can't read that message. I'll have to try and find out from Tommy what he's trying to say to us. But what a guy! Donuts across the line. Any final words on that one, Matt?
Final words would be that was a banging race. We saw great battles through the field. Fantastic drive from yourself, Daisy, bringing yourself from near the back of the grid right up to P2 with some excellent moves all the way through. We saw great battles for the final podium place and those closing laps as well. And Tommy Real crossing the line sideways because he was that far ahead. What a race.
What a race, what a drive, what a grid. Join us again next Sunday, 4:30 for round 3 of the Republic of Motorsport Championship. I've been CSR Skills. That's when Matt's supposed to say I've been Matty C, but thank you all for watching. Good night. Good night.
Oh yeah, and I've been Matty C.
Ciao for now.